Hello and welcome to Cheap Joe's Art Stuff. My name is Julie and I'm here to impart some knowledge to you today via a 2-minute art tip. And today's tip, maybe you can consider it a tip, but more like a story. We wanted to share with you a little bit of the background behind our own American Journey line. Maybe you didn't know about that American Journey was actually our own Cheap Joe's house brand, developed by Joe himself, but it is. And we think it's fantastic and wonderful, and kind of also fantastic and wonderful for a whole bunch of different reasons that maybe you didn't know. One is I was around years and years ago here in-house when Joe decided that he was going to launch his own in-house watercolor brand. And we were like, oh boy, okay. But as with everything that Joe does, it's with like gusto and happiness and energy to burn. And so the one thing that Joe wanted to accomplish with American Journey was to kind of inspire people, and also provide encouragement to people who may be just a little bit hesitant to try things on their own, and venture out into watercolor and art maybe in general because of the cost. I mean, it's not cheap. But here at Cheap Joe's, we wanted to make it so that cost was not a prohibiting factor as much as we could possibly. So Joe wanted to set forth and create a watercolor line that was bold and inspiring and also affordable, but professional in every way that every other watercolor, professional watercolor line that was out there. That if it wasn't as good or better than anybody else out there, that he really wasn't interested in doing it. So that set forth on a whole, quest for us. But Joe being Joe, he also wanted to make sure that the tubes were huge so that you didn't feel like you had to use a little teeny like dot anytime that you got paint out of the tube, that you felt comfortable, engaging with your color and using them, and that you developed a relationship with your color and were comfortable enough using them and weren't constantly clenched up with like fear, that you could use your paint and be happy about it every time you were like, okay, here we go, we're going to do this. So that's how American Journey came to be. And he also worked and, tested and tried things and got the opinions of so many of our own Cheap Joe's ambassadors and his own friend that we developed several other specialty colors that are just ours here at Cheap Joe's in the American Journey watercolor line, like Getz Gray from Don Getz and Andrew's Turquoise and Skip's Green and all kinds of cool things like that you won't necessarily find anywhere else. So Joe has had his hand in every single part of the American Journey development over the years, and then that brought us to acrylic. So like once you get watercolor under your belt, it's time to do some acrylic, and that was done with the exact same care and attention to detail and stuff, because we wanted to make sure that American Journey acrylics were every bit as good as the next guy or even better. And the cost savings was important because, again, we didn't want the artists that were using them to be scared by their materials, feel like they're in financial jeopardy every time they took a step out to create. And basically, that's really what the American Journey line is based on, about empowerment and the sharing of the artistic process in a way that we can empower people, empower artists to try and discover and create and feel emboldened to do whatever crosses their mind, and then whatever they choose to have across their palette. So American Journey was built under the understanding that we wanted to make it affordable, professional, and accessible to everybody who wants to be involved in the artistic process. So watercolors first, acrylics a few years later, and may have some other surprises up our sleeve coming soon. So check in with us. We're very proud of it. If you haven't tried American Journey, either watercolor or acrylic, we would love for you to try it. It comes with our 365-day money-back guarantee. You should check them out. They're amazing. And not just because I said so. Joe put his hand to it, and we know that you will enjoy.